Channel mode.
Hello, YouTube, and welcome to part 2 of the Talkpod review that, unfortunately, I've been putting off for way too long. And for that, I apologize. Let me just turn this other radio down so it's not competing with me. And all right, good deal. Okay, so yeah, this is the Talkpod. This is the A36 Plus. It's a GMRS radio, but it also can be bought as a ham radio, which covers 2 meters and 70 centimeters. But this particular one was sent to me by Talkpod. And of course, there is part 1 review for this radio. But I wanted to go ahead and wrap up this one. We've got a little bit of testing, range testing. And my good friend Randall, the Ky Goblin, took the radio out into town. He tested it at our usual location over at the Dairy Dip, which is about 3 miles. We've got a knob between us. And then he actually went into town, and I was able to hear him. However, it was a weak copy, but the audio was really, really good. So had the audio not been good on this radio, then I would say that it would have been a really bad copy, because I was getting about out of 1 out of 10, I was getting about a 2. So looks like the railroad is busy today, and I can't compete with them talking in the background. So I wanted to cover what I thought about this radio in this video. And of course, I'll play the range test as well. You'll get to hear the audio on it, and then we'll wrap up the video. It's a rainy day today. I've got a little bit of brain fog going on today too. I don't know what that's about, but all right, let's get to it. So turn the radio on. You're met with a nice display, nice color display, and quite nice. It reminds me of the Anytone AT778 UV I have over here. That's for another video. Let's take it off its cradle. We have a nice charging cradle, which is a little bit dusty. This house, I'm just constantly having to dust around here. Sorry to have the camera sitting in front of me, so it's between me and the radio. So this might be a little difficult to work around, but we'll make the best of it. Now, some of the things, there's some, I like it. I like the ergonomics of the radio. Okay. And then there's some things I don't like. It's a bright, colorful display, as I said. Very easy to read. A little difficult to read in the sunlight now, but there's a lot of radios that have that problem. A lot better than my Baofeng UV9G. Now that one's hard to read in the daylight. So if you're out there standing out in the yard trying to read that UV9G, good luck. You're holding your hand over it, trying to shade the sun from it so you can read it. But this one isn't too bad. Of course, you've got your volume off and on switch right here. Pretty decent rubber duck antenna. Push to talk feels pretty good. You have function buttons here, which you can set up in the software, and you can program this with Chirp. You can actually, and I've done this, I've tried this already. You can charge it on the USB-C, and It's kind of hard to see that right there. There we go. You can charge it using a USB-C cable and, even a cell phone charger will charge this radio up. I used my solar. Over on this side, we have a nice little tag there. It says A36 Plus. Very nice. But here we've got a K-type microphone jack, and I'm not, no problem, except I can't get this cover. Now, this is sort of a weather cover. But it does me no good if I touch it, just barely touch it with my hand. You're grabbing the radio with your hand. I'm right-handed. And eventually it just works its way open. So it's very hard to keep that closed. And I don't know if that's just mine in particular or if they all do that. Of course, there's a function button up here. We have a transmit receive light. A little button right here. It's kind of one of those alarm buttons. And I don't have that set up to do anything. The side buttons here, I set one up for squelch, the other one to raise or lower the power. It is a 5-watt radio. You have the keypad feels pretty good in the hands. It's got a nice feel to it when you press the buttons. It does have a learning curve. And another thing that I'm not crazy about. You go in the menu, and now I'm used to running a lot of the Baofeng radios, and you go into the menu. So get that where you can see it. Of course, it times out. I'm not crazy about channel A, band A being at the top and the memory being at the bottom. So, maybe for some people it's not a big deal, but for me, it's a deal breaker. I wish the whole screen was a menu and not just cut off. You can receive VHF and UHF on this, although the radio is set up for GMRS. You can go into Chirp and you can program other channels at the bottom. The timeout thing, that drives me crazy too. The timeout on the screen is a little bit short. So, but I have local law enforcement stuff. You cannot, and I repeat, you cannot key up on those. So I don't want anyone thinking that I'm doing anything malicious. So you can choose which one you want to display GMRS and some of the UHF, VHF frequencies that you put in to scan. Scan is fairly decent. So it's not too bad. It's not very fast, but it's not bad. And it looks like we're not going to focus, of course. There we go. Yeah. So, again, the timeout is just annoying. So, it's a good radio. You have an indicator right there that you're transmitting. And it tells you the channel that you're transmitting on. I'm not going to get too deep into the memory, or I'm sorry, not the memory, but the menu, because as I said, I find it tedious. So there we have, and it's displaying the version, firmware. For those of you wondering, I don't think there's a firmware change or upgrade or anything like that. It's not like the Quansheng, so don't expect it to do those things. So I'm going to have to go. Let's see if I can do it this way. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm not crazy about the menu. My camera doesn't want to focus. I'm sorry about that, folks. So it has all the memory, functions. It has all the menu functions that you're going to find in a Baofeng. It will do repeaters, and you can punch hidden frequencies. You're indicated right here by the main. Right now we're on this band B, and you can just punch one in, just like that. And that's National Weather Service. It doesn't do a great job of receiving NOAA weather radio. Although, to be fair, that one is a bit of a pain to receive anyway. So we'll put a frequency in there. It's not going to keep the radio flashing off and on. So, yeah, so my thoughts on the radio. Again, I would not have split the screen as far as the menu goes. I would have kept the menu full screen because it's such a small area. This little thing right here that covers your microphone jack, that, if you perhaps put some raised rubber bits in there that were the same size as these holes, it would probably hold it better. So they would just slide in there and they would hold it in place, and when you pulled it out, belt clip is very sturdy, and although I'm not crazy about the belt clip being on the back of the battery, because let's say you decide that you want to buy a secondary battery, you're going to have to remove the belt clip from the battery and slide it onto the charged battery. Battery on this one is 1500 milliamp hours, 7.4 volts. Not too bad, but however, I've found out that the radio sitting can have a full charge and could be sitting with the charger unplugged, and over a week's time it dissipates. So the memory is clearly eating the battery up as it sits turned off on the shelf or in the cradle. So yeah, I don't think I would have used just part of the screen for the menu. As far as, going out in the field and saying, okay, well, I need a certain frequency, fairly easy to punch that right into that lower section or upper section, whichever you choose. The battery, like I said, sitting on the shelf, the battery depletes or discharges, and I'm just assuming that's the memory in the radio doing that. The battery situation, I don't think I would have put that there, but then again, there's no room up here to put, you can't see that, but there's no room to put the belt clip other than on the battery pack. I think I would have changed that. Like I said, you're going to have to take that. This is a spring-loaded. It wasn't easy to get on the back of the radio. So I think if I had another battery, I'd be a little frustrated because, unless the secondary battery came with a belt clip, then I'd be a little frustrated because I'd have to take this off and put it on the other battery. Range, it gets great range, great coverage. The audio is loud. It does UHF and VHF. This one is, of course, the GMRS version. It does aircraft as well. All in all, it's a good radio. Just a few little quirks, and I got this a while back in last year, and it was fairly new when they sent it to me. It was still fairly new on the market. And of course there is FM radio.
On.
And I don't want to get a copyright, so let's see. Let's just go down the band to something like NPR. We have a local NPR, it's just a flamethrower. That might make a liar out of me.
In situations where employees may be performing tasks that are not quite as highly skilled?
Love it. That's such a good question. And we don't have research that has examined different populations to see whether...
Not too bad. I mean, I am in a mobile home, which is FM's easy to get to. This little button right there says FM. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad radio. It's just got some quirks, and I'm sure by now they probably ironed out some of those problems. So my initial thoughts are, it like I said, it feels good in the hand. Got good coverage on it. We got a little over 3 miles out of it, and that's handheld to base station. My base station antenna is about 22 feet off the ground, and it's on fairly high elevation. Battery life, if you're using it out there, is good. It'll last you a day, but like I said, if it sits on the shelf, it's been charged, it's not constantly plugged in, then you're going to have, this radio's going to drain its own battery for some reason. The battery cradle, unless you take the battery off and slide it down into the cradle, which still is a bit of a problem. It's okay, but now you try to fit the whole thing in there. This is where I have problems. This is where the real problem comes in. For some reason, I fight with this radio. Now, see, I've made a liar out of me. Most of the time, I fight with this radio, try to get it into the charge cradle. So 90% of the time, I charge off that USB port. And already the base of this feels like it's wanting to come apart. If I had to give it a 1 out of 5, 5 being the best and 1 being the worst, I'd have to give it about a 3.5, almost 4. It's got great potential. I'm sure, like I said, there's probably upgrades to this radio already. There's probably a better batch going out. But so far, those are my complaints about the radio so far. So let's get to the range test. That's probably where the radio will shine the best. And of course, it's 3 miles. The first test is 3 miles from my house to the dairy dip, and we have this big knob in front of us. So I'm having to shoot through the side of that mountain to get to where Randy was on the Talkpod A36 Plus. So let's get to that. We'll wrap up the video.
Hello, come in.
Go ahead, Eugene.
Scooby. But there, Eugene, you hear me there? I hear you, but you breaking up. You're going to have to go outside on that walkie.
It's loud and clear over here. I'm on the base radio, by the way.
Yeah, he's going to have to go outside on the walkie Yeah, I know that base station picked it pretty good. I'm sitting down here, right here in the same spot I always do.
All right, I'm gonna go out with a walkie up here on the hill.
Okay, let me know when you get up there.
Yeah, well, I'm up on top of the hill now. I had you all the way from the back door up to the house. You sure a prepper for it. Go down, pass out the weed.
Matters what brand it is, they'll reach it.
So no, that's on high power. On that one, I can't remember how to set that.
Yeah, I don't think you'll need it. I think it's, this will be plenty big enough, good enough.
Yeah, it's getting loud, I know that.
Yeah, it's good. Well, that's a good test for it because, it ain't been tested like that, and you know it ain't.
Only computers, computer models.
Yeah. What about you, Gene? Can you hear me there where you're at? He's got that knob there right behind him, right in front of him there. It might be blocking him. Can you hear me there? I'm walking. Can you hear me there?
Yeah, it's not breaking up or anything.
That's good. That's good. Somebody's got some, right next to this fence, there's some telephone wire hanging down. Part of it's out in the field.
I'm just out here breathing these chemtrails, testing radios out.
I'm thinking about going to one more position. I don't know if I have a place to pull over to check it or not, but I'll try.
Yeah, go for it. You got an ETA on that? The way I can save film.
It'll probably it'll take me at least 10 or 15 minutes to get there, maybe not that long. That is if I can find a good spot to pull over. It's going to be, I'll be going towards Stanford, but I'll turn off on 518 and up on like Ridge there a little bit and see if I can, I'll be a little bit past the 4 miles there.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, I'll go ahead and cut the video off, and then if I hear you, I can start it back up.
Okay, that'll work. All right, we'll catch you then.
All right, just found a blue jay feather. Here, he's just breaking up on you. I guess it must be that ridge there, Eugene. That knob.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm in power right now. Hearing y'all really good.
I heard you say you were going to pull by a school around the Leslie Church, and then I lost you.
It's perfect. The church. I wanted to see what it would do in town.
I heard that, wanted to see what it do in town. If you don't move around too much, it's perfect.
Right there, I'm just sitting still. I was wanting to check it while I was around all these buildings and stuff,
Yeah, your audio's up there, but I'm not even getting any signal on you on the meter, just audio.
Well, that's pretty good, though. That's pretty good. All right, I'm gonna go and check on the other place there so they can find a good spot. I'll catch you in a little bit.
Roger, Roger.